Brutal Legend.
Now, what other video game begins with a one-take, live-action recording of Jack Black showing you the vinyl of the game you're about to play that
is not just gonna blow your mind, it's gonna blow your soul.
Which then serves as the main menu? That's right, none. From the moment you load up this bad boy, you are avalanched by an insane amount of heavy metal, buff bods,
decapitation,
and enough leather to overflow a DFS warehouse. Sprinkle on a stellar cast, bountiful music, and genre-merging spectacles, you get, well, whatever the hell this is.
Kinda sexy though, in a weird way.
It's a merge of comedy and gore, if you like, that results in a quite literal highway to hell. So let's dive deeper into what makes
Brutal Legend
just that, legendary. So, Brutal Legend was released all the way back in 2009, a year filled with heavy hitters and instant classics. And just before the year came to a close on October 16th, Double Fine Productions, or more appropriately put, decided to bless the already unholy world with their next big game. Now, this is a company previously and solely known for Psychonauts, which, though it didn't do well at first, later gained a cult following and even recently managed to get a sequel decades later in 2021. But back in the mid-noughties, Double Fine and CEO Big Boy Tim Schafer has shown not only that they like to think outside the box, but that they aim to set it alight and toast bountiful marshmallows of art design and creativity on top of its ashes. So despite only being their second project, their ambition and imagination was clear to see, and with a little help from the behemoth that is EA, marketing began, and the game was first announced in October 2007, paired with a mass send-out of vinyl records to journalists that contained backward messages alluding to the game's narrative, setting up the early base premise for a hunky protagonist named Eddie Riggs. Now, to make it short and without spoilers, Eddie is a downtrodden roadie who, unfortunately and brutally, finds himself transported into a heavy metal-themed fantasy world of hell and head bobbing. Beat that, Dorothy. See, as you can understand, intrigue for the game was building from the get-go. But it wasn't until 2009, the year of release, that Double Fine went all out on its promotion, from breaking a Guinness World Record for the most air guitars at one time, with the help of Jack Black himself appearing at both the Video Music Awards and Jimmy Fallon Live, cosplaying as Eddie and even staying in character.
Hold up.
Highlighting not only Jack Black's continual commitment to any given task, but that Double Fine has a strong grasp on what they were selling. Yet, though the world and characters seemed fleshed out, not all of the marketing went as smoothly, swiftly taking us on to gameplay.
Oh man, don't tell me I've been slaying hot girls this whole time.
Once you're transported from Gig to demonic lands of Hellfire, the action-adventure open world is presented to you on a silver and bloody platter. From rhythm-based charged attacks, literal music notes raining agony upon the enemies, to even car-wielding hit-and-runs. This combat is vastly fun, and though simple and repetitive at times, its flashy tendencies and over-the-top wackiness makes up for it, never finding itself getting stale in its roughly 10-hour campaign. But, and it's a big but, for a lot of fans, a sense of hoodwinkery had taken place. As though the action side of Brutal Legend was slapped everywhere in its marketing, a little surprise was found for players a few hours in. That being real-time strategy elements that not only make up for majority of the bosses, but most of this game's big moments and battles. For many, this hidden aspect upset some fans, and EA and Double Fine's bait and switch on the topic invoked a small controversy. The game spends the first third highlighting its action-adventure identity, before seemingly integrating real-time strategy components that transform a large portion of the experience, baffling many on why the RTS aspects hadn't been revealed before. Luckily for us, however, Big Boss Schafer later went on record to say how these elements were integral to his vision of the game, but his team were told by executives, even if someone asked us if it's RTS, we'll say no, out of fear it was a game killer word in the console space. Then paired with a post-launch multiplayer mode that utilises the RTS aspects that, although personally was insanely enjoyable, as it let you gain control of the enemy's armies, for many, all this fed into a master of none scenario, and that their funny hack-and-slash action game suddenly had a bizarre identity crisis midway through. But personally, I believe it is in Brutal Legend's scope and ambition that both solidifies it in the Hall of Video Game fame, but also hinders it. Its hybrid of genres and daring scope in order to form a clear identity is what made it as memorable as it is, even strangely suiting its insane story perfectly for the vision it aimed to tell.
You like the car?
Yeah. I can't wait to show it to Lars.
With as little spoilers as possible, Brutal Legend is a story about the overthrowing of a demonic emperor named Diviculus, who is voiced by the insanely talented Tim Curry, an icon for the ages in of himself. But can we just take a second for this design? Like, god damn, this is a villain if I've ever seen one. Finally. Impeccable. But sadly, as Eddie and the player quickly realise, this demon gotta go. Not only for enslaving humanity, but keeping this guy in second command. I hate you. So, with the help of possible romance interest Ophelia, natural leader and surprisingly well-conditioned Lars, and his whiny little sister Lita, Eddie, and therefore the player, begin to start a rebellion and an army to fight back. The RTS making sense now? The story, in my opinion, is great. Yes, it falls into some tropes here and there, and despite the last act giving out one of my favourite character makeovers of all time, the last chapter feels a little rushed, which is a shame as the humour, high moments of emotion and epic rock and roll of it all really builds the momentum up and up, making even the most mundane of situations feel absolutely epic, but just falling a little short of a home run at the end. Ultimately, this ties back into the scope of the game, as there is more than enough evidence out there to suggest a lot of content was cut, especially in the last act, feeding back into the scale the team had. But from cast to art design, the team's efforts are clear to see, and what we did get was metal, as from the creative treasure trove of inspiration from heavy metal and rock album covers, the all-star supporting cast of Ozzy Osbourne, Lemmy Kilmister, and Rob Halford, alongside many more, the heart and soul of this world feels unlike any other. Characters are emotive and expressive in a comical but believable way. The grittiness and enemy designs are impeccably gruesome and adorable. You can tell they crafted this world with love and creativity, from everything oozing metal, the near-perfect soundtrack, the world lore entails, even to the guitar riff summoning your vehicle and exploring the bowels of this sadistic, gorgeous underworld. A lot of time and care went into how this game looked, maybe so much so that its scale ultimately hindered it, from rushed arcs, underdeveloped genre aspects, and a lacking final chapter. But despite this, I don't think any of these aspects destroy what makes Brutal Legend so special, but opens the door for a possibility of a future. These themes and ideas, mechanics and visuals, there is an infinite level of possibility here. Even for a little weirdo like me that doesn't even actively listen to metal, it gave me a lasting experience nonetheless.
Oh, sorry. Did you know those dudes?
But I guess it all comes down to numbers. And despite Brutal Legend being met with mostly positive critical reviews, and despite the small RTS debates, fans loved it too, with it even selling over 1 million copies. But for EA, this wasn't quite the commercial success that they were hoping for, leading to Double Fine having to scrap their plans for a sequel. Yet, as time goes by, Brutal Legend's love and fanbase seems to be getting louder and louder, and its discussion on YouTube growing in popularity. Pair this with Double Fine recently being acquired by Microsoft, and Schafer himself stating on numerous occasions how much he would like to make a sequel. With an industry further growing and evolving, Brutal Legend still stands out as something special, albeit perhaps too ambitious for the time and resources they possessed. But I truly hope that this is one IP that isn't lost in the melody of time, as its potential and daring individuality is what makes it so special, and something I believe the industry really needs more of.
Yeah! They're definitely our fans now.
That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and please let me know in the comments how you feel about Brutal Legend. Do you love it? Do you see potential for a sequel or even just a remaster? Let me know below. This has been my first video, guys, so please subscribe and tackle that like button. It really does help, and I hope you will join me on my YouTube journey. So until the next video, this has been The Gaming Staple.